Okay, so Be'ezras Hashem, we're going to look at, just to think about a little bit today, is an idea that we've spoken about often in the past. And it's an idea that sprouts forth into various rivers that each and every one of them demand a full investigation in order to properly understand the framework of this idea in one's life and in Avodas Hashem. But for the sake of providing a tamsitz, a quintessence, so to speak, of what the sugya is, so that we can think about it, we're going to look at the concept of ki'ilu, at acting as if. Now, in Chazal, there are many, many times where there's certain mitzvos or there are certain avodos or actions that a person is engaged in the time of exile, where Chazal say that by accomplishing this, it's as if you have accomplished the original thing. And there are two ways to look at this mechanism of as if. What am I doing, for example, if I'm learning about the Korbanos and the Beis HaMikdash? What am I doing when I am learning about them? Am I remembering something from a bygone past that is no longer accessible? It's removed from me, and the only thing I can do is have some weak reminder of it in the hopes of keeping it alive in my mind until the real thing arrives. Or perhaps is there a secret mechanism, a secret way of living, where by engaging with the memory act, by engaging with the learning and studying of that experience, by contemplating it, by engaging in its concepts, it's not only that I'm remembering it, but I am actually accomplishing it by way of memory. When we say ki'ilu, it doesn't only mean that it's as if I did something because I can't do the real thing. Ki'ilu is a mechanism wherein the real thing is done by way of ki'ilu. The as if is not simply an imitation or a mimicry or an act that has no value, but rather it is an act that contains all of the value that emerged from the real thing itself. So ki'ilu is not simply pretending to do something or acting. It is a way of actually doing that thing. Chazal have revealed to us that HaKadosh Baruch Hu has given us a gift, a chen, a grace that allows us to accomplish something that is inaccessible to us. In spite of the fact that we can't do it, we can act as if we did it. And when we act as if we did it, in that as if itself exists a taste of the real thing. To the extent that the faking it is not separate and apart from making it, but rather the faking it is a way of making it that's different when actually making it is inaccessible. Now, applied to the human experience, this is a fundamental idea because in order to live a life of authenticity, in order to live a life of lishma, the razor sharp demand of being on point in the way that I need to be theoretically, in allegiance and alliance to the true capacity of myself, would be an impossible thing. It would take the human being their entire lives and more to prepare themselves for even one moment of authenticity in this world, for one moment of actual experience. We're so covered over in a world of shikra, of things that are unreal, that it's nearly impossible to keep focus on the singular most important point of lishma and authenticity. And so then avodas Hashem would be removed from us. If I can't do the real thing, I might as well not do it at all. But we find that Chazal and HaKadosh Baruch Hu has given us a fundamental access point, which is act as if ki'ilu. Ki'ilu oimed lifnei hamelech. The Rambam says, lahalacha. The Rambam, whose words we cherish and we measure and we investigate. He says lahalacha, that one is standing to daven, it's ki'ilu oimed lifnei hamelech. It's as if they are standing in front of the king. What does this ki'ilu mean? This ki'ilu means that even in the prayer encounter, when I am connecting to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, I will never necessarily be able to say that I am completely aware and deeply connected in a rational and absolute way to what I believe I'm connected to. And therefore, there's no limit to the questions and the doubts and the skepticism that can enter in and ruin any experience of connectivity of Emunah in this world. But when Chazal tell me, Ki'ilu oimei lifnei hamelech, it's as if I'm standing in front of the king, then it's okay for me to approach as I am. Because even if I'm not there in the authenticity of that place, I'm there in the inauthenticity of it. And I might not be able to be real in an authentic way, but I can be authentically fake. I could present myself as the actor that I am. As the Zohar Kadosh says, that human beings are like monkeys who imitate the Shechina HaKadosha. All we're doing is imitating. The Maggid of Mizrich describes the process of preparing for prayer and the ascension of the worlds that one goes through in the drama of prayer, so to speak. That, as we know from the Arizal, there's a procession of going up from Olam HaAsiyah, the lowest world, the world of physicality, of intensity, of constriction, where it's difficult to move, where the only thing we can try and do is have Kabbalah Malchus Shemayim, accept that which is, Then we ascend to the world of Yetzirah, to the world of emotions, of rectifying and praising the good things and accessing the gratitude that lays latent within our hearts and our awareness. Then we come to the place of Bria, of Kriyat Shema. We sit down. This is a place of contemplation, of the Kitzei HaKavod, where I'm serious and sober in my awareness of how things work, preparing myself for that act of Shemona Esrei. And then I climb to the world of Atzilus, the highest of all worlds, where I'm unified face to face. I'm unified face to face with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. All of these elements, all of these gradations of growth, says the Maggid of Mizrich, are stages in a play. And when I wake up in the morning, I dress myself up like an actor, and I'm method acting. I engage within the levush upon which I'm wearing. And the way that I want to live my life with HaKadosh Baruch Hu is memela the way that I live my life. Not because I'm there authentically, but because I've decided to do it that way today. And I'm an actor who ascends one level of the play until the drama is over and Nefilas Apayim takes place and Kiddush Hashem takes place, and then we go on with our day. A person in this world is ki'ilu oimid lefnei HaMelech. Rabbi Nachman says that this is the entire avoda. It's all ki'ilu. It's ki'ilu we're learning, ki'ilu we're davening, and then yearning and yearning and yearning. This is the secret of Ma'aseh Mebitachon, to acknowledge that we're always just playing with our wooden swords, with the knowledge that Hashem knows that even though He wants us to have a metal sword, we've lost our ability to have a metal sword, and all we have is our hidden wooden sword, thinking that we're tricking the king. Hashem knows that we're tricking Him, and we know that He knows we're tricking Him, and we're both continuing along with the play because that's how the drama goes. And it's the tragic comedy of existence that begins with difficulty, it begins with concealment, and it ends with the redemption of Mashiach. Mashiach will come to laugh. Mashiach will come to reveal that everything has been a play. Ki'ilu omed lefnei HaMelech. Now, there is a fundamental need to engage with life authentically, to engage with Torah and mitzvahs authentically, to be present where I'm present in the present moment, to be fully present, to be lishma. Lishma, for the sake of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, is a fundamental clause in Avodas Hashem. It's fundamental that I thin out and I abstract over and over and over my personal biases and alliances and connections and attachments and resentments in order to ensure that I'm doing things lishma, for their authentic purpose. But at a certain point, a human being has to learn to be okay with the lo lishma as well. That even when I'm not doing it for the proper purpose, I'm still doing it, and the doing it is enough. By acting as if I'm doing it authentically, I will come to find the place of authenticity, because there's no true thing as absolute authenticity. Everything is covered over with what it means to be a human being, to live in the dream, to live in the dimyon, to live in the ki'ilu of it all. And there's two statements that teach us the secret of this lo lishma. That yes, we want to search for lishma, but we have to learn how to live with the lo lishma also. The first one is that mitoich shaloi lishma balishma, like Chazal tell us, that through lo lishma, a person will come to lishma. Through inauthenticity and acting as if, I'll come to do the real thing. Zakta tzadikim, that means that bitoich haloi lishma, if I dig down deep enough into the experience of inauthenticity and the decision to act as if, like a madman for HaKadosh Baruch Hu, like someone who has eaten tainted wheat and has no idea what is what, and I'm just keeping a foot by dancing like a madman. No matter what, I'm still engaged. I can find the Nakuda of Lishma in that place. And then more powerfully, there's an additional piece from the Morinayim in the Likutim where it says as follows, that this is how Chazal have taught us the secret of Shalol Lishma, that forever, La'olam Yilmad Adam Shalol Lishma, Shemitoch Shalol Lishma Ba Lishma. A person should always learn by way of Lo Lishma, because by coming to a place of Lo Lishma, you'll come to find Lishma. And the Morinayim says as follows, he says, what does it mean, La'olam? It means it will always be this way. It's not simply a suggestion, this is what you should always do. But rather, Lo'ila means here that you will always be perpetually caught up in a process between Lo Lishma and Lishma. Because in my Lo Lishma right now, I can yearn to come to a place of authenticity. But in the next moment, I come to find that that authenticity is also inauthentic in relationship to the true authenticity that is possible. And therefore, every moment of authenticity is transformed retroactively to be a deeper shlav of inauthenticity, and going deeper into the method acting, going deeper into the kilu. And over, La'olam Yilmad Adam Shaloi Lishma, Kimitoich Shaloi Lishma Ba Lishma, that this is how it's always going to be. For whenever I reach the ceiling of my experience of myself, I'm going to come to find that it's the floor of the next level. And instead of being overwhelmed, I have to learn how to take myself a little bit less seriously, to be calm with myself, to laugh with myself, to laugh with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, to allow HaKadosh Baruch Hu to laugh with us, to allow HaKadosh Baruch Hu to laugh with the world, which is a funny thing. It's a funny thing, as the Zohar says. It balances itself very delicately upon the fin of the Levyasan. The fin of the Levyasan, it's a balanced thing. It's a very delicate thing that's floating right above the waves, hovering right above the ocean. And when we come to that place of recognizing that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is everywhere, in the Loy Lishma and the Lishma, in the authenticity and in the inauthenticity, we'll come to be able to find HaKadosh Baruch Hu Be'ezras Hashem in everything we do.